Hi, I'm Hannah Brents. I am a licensed independent clinical social worker and a registered yoga instructor with a private practice in Massachusetts. I have a bachelor's and master's degree in religious studies, and I've seen firsthand how toxic fundamentalist religious communities can be. So thanks for being here. Before we jump into today, remember to subscribe to the Theology Therapist YouTube channel and press the bell so you can get notifications and updates on all new weekly releases. Lastly, if you find any of this helpful, I would love if you would comment below or share with a friend. All right, so let's get started. So today, I want to talk about the role of guilt in religion. Guilt says, I did something wrong or I did something bad, whereas shame says, I am bad, right? Guilt as a form and function operates to inform us when something is wrong. If we talk about someone without their knowing and in a way that they wouldn't like, we feel bad or guilty, usually. This is because it could or did or would, right, cause a conflict or a rift in the relationship. And something has to be done to right the relationship. When amends are made or the conflict is resolved, guilt is absolved or removed. And this is what happens on an individual level, like between me and you, or whoever, you and your mom. But this also happens on an organizational level. So society needs organization. Otherwise, it's chaos. And it needs rules by which to live so that there are repercussions for actions. Throughout history in the Western world, society has organized itself through religion. And then Senate and politics took its place. In other parts of the world, society was organized in tribes and also potentially through indigenous religion or spirituality. This is because as humans, we need to know the consequences for our actions. And religion also makes meaning. It's not only about saying, do this or this is gonna happen, but we're not gonna talk about the meaning making today. So the sense of guilt at an organizational level, which trickles down to the individual level, creates order. In the same way, religions also use guilt to organize and keep order. And I also want to be clear that so do politics. Politics do this as well, but it has a different impact whenever we are invoking the divine. So religions use guilt to motivate people into right action. All religions do this. The use of guilt in this way isn't wrong or even surprising. It becomes wrong, however, whenever fundamentalist or cultic groups use this guilt to manipulate people. Now, since we're using our critical thinking skills, you might say here, Hannah, isn't organizing people and manipulating people the same thing? Great question. But no, I would argue. Societies, big and small, are organized by something, but the manipulation goes one step further. The manipulation says, you think that's enough? No, that's not enough. You actually have to do X, Y, Z, ... You see the difference? That's not enough. You're not good enough. You failed, etc. So that one step further, that's where that difference is. And as we all know probably, cult groups make it extreme. They say things like, so as Jesus was perfect, so you should be perfect. Or, make disciples of every nation. Oh wait, you had dinner with someone and you didn't invite them to temple. Or God's law says X, so you need to cover your hair or your shoulders or keep kosher or keep Sabbath or whatever it is, and you need to be okay with it. Oh, you don't want to do any of these things or these things all the time. That makes you bad. You are failing God and being a bad Christian, a bad Mormon, a bad J-Dub, a bad Jew, a bad Muslim, etc. So when guilt is used to convey somebody's badness, then it is inappropriate and an inappropriate use of power. And because we're talking here about God and the divine, it's really hard to undo those messages. It's really hard to interrupt the experience of constant guilt and eternal consequences of that. When our beliefs change, it takes longer for our bodies and our emotions to catch up with our beliefs. So even after your beliefs have changed, like maybe you no longer believe in that version of God or God even, and maybe after you've left this church or that religion, it's gonna take a while to undo the guilt that has been woven into your psyche. Guilt plays many roles, but it's bad when it's used to manipulate people, and when it conveys the message that someone is bad is when that guilt becomes problematic. So religions use guilt in a lot of ways and for a lot of reasons. And they're not the only organization that does that. Politics, like we said, or even you might think your workplace, like you're not allowed to not answer if somebody calls or texts you or pings you or whatever, slacks you. You gotta answer that, right? Like there are lots of organizations use guilt, and it's a way to keep order. And it's just when it goes one step further into that manipulation that says someone is bad or someone is unlovable or whatever, and especially with religion that invokes those divine consequences, when it becomes problematic. So short little recap today. Usually I'm super chatty. Today we're just going straight in, talking about it. Let me know what you think about religion and guilt and how guilt shows up in religious communities. Let me know in the comments. And if you found this helpful, you think that it would benefit someone that you know, please share with a friend. Great. I will see you next week.